Hi, my name is Nanise El Gamal, and I'm a student of astrology, and I want to talk to you about the autumn equinox today. So let me just show you the chart for the autumn equinox, which is happening on September the 23rd, and when the sun moves into Libra. So the sun is right here, and it's just moved into the sign of Libra. So the equinox is a very sacred day. It is a day of 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night, equal day and night. An equinox happens twice a year, once in the very beginning of Libra season, and in the springtime, it happens in the beginning of Aries season. The sun is said to be exalted in traditional and ancient astrology. The sun is exalted in the sign of Aries because as the sun enters this house, this sign, the lighter half of the year begins, the yang half of the year begins. And as the sun goes into Libra, the yin cycle begins, the dark part of the year begins. So it's like the sun is exalted. It's the most very powerful in Aries. It's a great position for the sun to be. In Libra, the sun is said to be at its fall. Literally, it is the beginning of fall, but it is also known as the lowest part of the wheel of fortune. So if you take a look at the Libra glyph here, oops, I don't want to draw on right here. You can see that it is like the sun setting into the horizon. So that is kind of what the autumn equinox is about. It is the beginning, it is the sunset of the zodiacal circle. So Libra is known as a tropical sign or a cardinal sign. Tropical comes from the Greek word tropos, which means change. So it is a change. The tropical signs or cardinal signs are Libra, Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer. Libra is the beginning, the initiation into autumn, into the dark part of the year, the yin part of the year. So it is a time, the autumn equinox is a time of change, the initiation of the change. So that is also another reason why it is considered a sacred time of the year, because maybe it's a time, during the lighter half of the year, it's more about outside world, the physical world, working in the sun, being outdoors, and mingling with others. And then in Virgo, we start to harvest what we've planted, what we've allowed to grow externally, and we separate the wheat from the chaff. So we separate what we want with what's not really useful for us. And the judgment of the harvest happens in the sign of Libra. So Libra will give us an idea of what did we do during the light half of the year, and is it going to carry us through the dark months to come? So it's a kind of sobering time of the year where the darkness starts to take over, and we're faced with the starkness of winter, especially in colder countries. So it is a time of judgment. From a soul level, it can be likened to, in ancient Egyptian mythology, the weighing of the heart against the feather of on the day of judgment. This is also a Libra theme. So it is an initiation portal, the autumn equinox, into the dark part of the year. So Venus is the ruler of Libra and Taurus. Libra is the masculine, airy temple of Venus. So it's very airy. It is, which means it's a lot of it is about the beauty of ideas, the beauty of cleanliness, and of the truth, the beauty of the mind. These are Venusian themes in Libra, amongst many other things. I like to think of Libra like a beautiful, a well-kept and clean temple, or it has a more it has a different vibe to Taurus, in a sense that because Saturn is exalted there, it's got a kind of a sense of discipline and order in its beauty, and that's a big part of Libra season. So Venus is in Libra in its home sign. So these Venusian topics conjunct with Mercury, so intellect and ability and skills and communications, messages. So these can be, and diplomacy as well as a Libra thing. So conjunct Mercury, maybe it's a good time, like over the next while, these two planets will be together over the next few weeks. So it's a time of where I believe where philosophy is highlighted, where beauty of the mind, or beauty of the ideas, or the beauty of the truth and justice is highlighted during this autumn equinox. So while this is happening, I notice there's a conversation of tension happening between Cancer and Capricorn, which has been kind of been the theme throughout this year and will carry on into next year. But this is going to be a big theme of over the next few months as we enter the dark part of the year. This is going to be, I believe, the theme till we reach the winter solstice in Capricorn. So the moon is opposing Saturn. The moon is at home in its own sign in Cancer. Cancer is the feminine, watery temple of the moon. So the moon is very comfortable here. It is kind of like you're at your own home, as opposed to being at a guest at someone else's house. So a planet in its home sign is able to carry out whatever it wishes much easier than when it is in another sign. So the moon is comfortable here in Cancer, and Saturn is also in its home sign, in its feminine temple, which is Capricorn. So we have a strong Saturn opposed to the strong moon. Oppositions are an aspect of creative crystallization. It is has tension because it's the aspect itself is ruled by Saturn, which is a kind of, Saturn brings about challenges. So a challenge here is of a sort is indicated by the planets opposing one another. The moon is, for me, the moon in Cancer for me can mean, oh yes, and the moon, I'll get right, back to that idea, but the moon is waning here. So the moon, we just finished the full moon, and now we're in the disseminating phase where the light of the moon is decreasing. And it is a time when we are preparing, we're preparing, we're kind of digesting what happened during the full moon period and kind of preparing for a new start that gets seeded, a new seed gets planted during the time of the new moon, when the moon and the sun conjunct. This is something that happens every month. So the moon for me is like, it can be family life, like Cancer likes to kind of withdraw in its shell and to like maybe eat comfort foods or spend time with family and kids and mother and home. These are all Cancerian kind of themes. And Saturn here can mean like corporate life or outer structures, well-established structures. Also, the moon can be the people, perhaps, and Saturn can kind of be like the elite and power. These are all possibilities. So I see a tension between those two energies, one of like home, tribe, comfort, security, inner security, like emotional security, as opposed to outer security, physical security, material security, structures, outer structures, well-established structures, corporations, the elite. I see a conversation of tension happening between those two themes, and this is most likely a theme that will be highlighted during the next few months, and how we kind of did the work we do during the summer months. Is it contributing to solutions towards this tension that we're creating? I feel that square that's happening from that opposition towards the sun is asking us that, like, because we've seen these two sides opposing one another, these two themes being highlighted throughout the year already. So with the squaring by whole sign, the sun that just entered into Libra is telling me, like, if the sun is like the organ in which the soul sees, as my teacher Adam Allenboss put it, if it is the organ in which the soul sees this part, then the sun being in this position while this is happening tells me the soul is now focusing on the judgment of the work that was done over the summer concerning the opposing themes of Cancer, Capricorn. So these could turn out in your life. Like, I mean, it's already happening in the world. I see like indigenous tribes in rainforest opposing corporations that want to exploit the resources of the earth, disrupting its ecology, the earth's ecology, and things like that, things of that nature. Or more women are coming into power all over the world and taking important political, socio-political roles. that's on the increase, and I believe that's a real moon north node type of thing happening. And the north node um, signifies an increase. So there's an increase. There's a trend. We are more leaning towards. We're more leaning towards this end of the spectrum at the moment, and it's about um, it's about the balance between those two in the work that you've done throughout the year. So it's kind of a challenging time because I see these squares and oppositions. Those are like the main kind of big things that I see and that speaks to me. And the only real helpful thing that the helpful things I see here are like the sextile to Jupiter. So what's going to bring us through this, what's going to help us through this time of darkness? Well, it's going to be faith, and it's going to be expanding our horizons, and it's going to be having an eye on the big picture. I believe these things are going to be key to make it through the darker months to come. I also see Neptune supporting the moon, so I believe like dreaming as well. Although there is a square to Jupiter, so there's a kind of a healthy concern, or a line needs to be drawn between total delusion and illusion, which could be a challenging thing right now. But having a optimism and dreaming your dream, and um, you know, going for it. I believe like that's kind of highlighted here too, but with a word of caution, not to get carried away because it's square Jupiter. So that's all I have for you for today. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I would love to hear your autumn equinox stories. Please share it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon.